We start with our Newsmaker segment and focus on the state of the Democratic Party in the state of Kansas. The party made some gains in the legislature last fall and seems poised to gain more victories next year as the school finance and budget crises linger. Joining me to talk about Kansas politics and the state's Democratic Party is its chairman, Attorney John Gibson, who once served as party chairman in Johnson County. Mr. Gibson, welcome to Ruckus. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here, Mike.
We're going to talk about the election in the 4th Congressional District of Kansas in a couple of minutes, but let's start with a few other questions. How does one get to be the chairman of the Democratic Party in Kansas?
You get elected by our state committee, the members of our state committee being determined by the Kansas Democratic Party bylaws, which is a large body, a few hundred people, and I threw my hat into the ring for that position and was elected by the members of our state committee.
What are you expected to do with that role?
To be the leader of the Democratic Party in the state and to raise the money that's needed to conduct our operations are the primary responsibilities.
Until the next election, you're really the face of the Democratic Party in the state. Is that fair to say?
At least in some sense. Certainly we have elected representatives in the State House and State Senate who do their work as well, but statewide, I'm the Democrat who's been elected by our party to lead us into the next election
cycle. Are you
cycle.
pretty optimistic about what could happen next year in the legislative races, the congressional races, and the gubernatorial race?
I'm extremely optimistic. I think we have an opportunity right now, and frankly an obligation to field candidates who will take our message out, because we've suffered in Kansas a great deal under the failed policies of Sam Brownback and his Republican Party, and Democrats have an opportunity now to carry a better way forward to voters and to connect with the voters of Kansas.
As you know, Republicans dominate the legislature right now and the governor's office. If that were reversed, if Democrats controlled the legislature and the governor's office, what would we be talking about in Kansas?
We'd be talking about expanded Medicaid to not only do the moral thing to bring health care to 150,000 Kansans in need of the ability to go see a doctor when they're sick, but also that would rejuvenate rural economies where hospitals and clinics are closing now. We'd be talking about fixing the school finance problem that we have. We'd be talking about ceasing these raids on our highway funds or state employee retirement accounts to fund the ongoing operations of the Kansas government.
Would taxes be higher?
Certainly we would need to return to some tax stability. We need to return to the time-honored three-legged stool of taxation that relies upon income taxes in the state, property taxes, and sales taxes. It's a funny thing that Democrats in Kansas are now the party of fiscal responsibility.
All right, let's talk about that 4th district race that got so much attention nationally as well as locally. 4th district of Kansas. Mike Pompeo had won the election last fall. He was appointed CIA director, and that opened the seat to a special election. You had a civil rights attorney, James Thompson, representing the Democratic Party. Ron Estes, the state treasurer, was the Republican candidate, and there was a lot of expectation that Democrats would win. Estes won by 7 points. Ordinarily, you would think that was a significant victory, but by and large now, media pundits and others are saying this was really a victory for the Democratic Party.
Certainly, James Thompson and his team put in a hard race and a race that shows us the opportunities we have in Kansas to bring a better message for the future. That's a race that Donald Trump carried by 27 percentage points, and no one outside of the state of Kansas, it seems, expected such a close result. Certainly, I expected a close result, and this was in line with the expectations I had for the excitement I saw in the district and around the state for this election, and the hard work that James Thompson put in.
Do you expect to see some growth for the Democratic Party in Johnson County next fall? You've already got Wyandotte County. There are like 5 non-Democrats living in Wyandotte County, but in Johnson County that has been dominantly Republican over the years, do you expect to see that change?
I expect that we will keep making advances in elections in Johnson County and around the state of Kansas, frankly. Johnson County is obviously a place with a population that is educated and that values the public education system, and those are values that connect with the Democratic Party and our candidates. So I do expect to make gains there, but certainly not only in Johnson County. We have to look statewide.
Got to wrap it up. Thanks very much for coming in.
Thank you, Mike.
Pleasure to see you. That is Kansas Democratic Party Chairman John Gibson. Now let's meet the panel and
Start a ruckus.